Hello, I am so excited to bring you guys something new in the mortgage and real estate world. This podcast is Make It Simple Mortgage, and the goal is to make it simple for everyone. The mortgage and real estate world is overcomplicated and it doesn't need to be that way, so we are changing the standard. All right, we're excited to bring our first guest ever, and I think that she actually has been working with me for 10 years, maybe even more. So I'm super stoked to welcome Katie Borsato.
I'm really excited to be here, and like you said, I will hold on to that title until the day I'm done because I have been honored to work with you for the last 10 years and really watch us both evolve and come into our profession, and I'm really excited to be here today.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, you started it was 2015?
Yeah, around.
2015, yeah, around there. And yeah, we shot lots of content, and I seen you start your career from just getting into it and learning to becoming one of, I guess I would say, one of the top selling real estate agents in the West Kootenays here, and it's been really cool and really interesting to see your growth.
Yeah, I'm very fortunate. I love what I do, and I'm really excited to be here today.
All right, so we are in Roslyn, BC today, and we are going to be talking a little bit about the buying process with Katie. I know she's been through it probably 100 times, 200 times, who knows how many times. I know it's more than that.
More than that.
Probably every year it's that many,
Yeah.
but so she is an expert on it, and I guess we just want to dive right into it, and Katie, I'll let you take it.
Yeah, I'm really excited to collaborate on it. I think it's, like you said, it's overcomplicated and it doesn't really have to be. It is and can be a stressful process, but as long as you have your trusted professionals to guide you through it, it really helps make the process way more smooth and successful. So I think that today we'll just start by breaking down the process. And I think that the number one most important thing that I tell my buyers to do is to get pre-approved. So a lot of people are confused and start looking at the market. They see a house they like and they don't set their expectations based on what they can afford. So I think that setting your pre-approval, going through your trusted bank or mortgage broker based off of the knowledge that I've gained, I think it's really great that the mortgage brokers have the opportunity to work with them and set expectations and guidelines based off of their approval rates. And I think that it's super important to do that due diligence prior to the buying process.
Yeah, I guess you probably see that a lot where people come in and maybe they've seen a house online or whatever, they found a place and it's worth $900,000, but when you actually start digging into it, potentially they're only able to afford a mortgage up to $500,000. So then there's disappointment, and it kind of like almost sours the process from the start.
Yeah.
Whereas I guess if you do that pre-approval process beforehand and have those conversations and set those expectations, then it's kind of like uphill from there, where you're just like getting more excited and going further into the process rather than like hitting a roadblock right off the start.
Totally.
And then kind of losing steam right away. So it makes it more fun too. It's like you know what you're getting yourself into. So when you know what you're getting yourself into, you can actually enjoy the moment and make it work best for you.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think, yeah, like I said, setting your expectations, right? And that's putting you in a successful position. We'll dive into the second step. I think that it's really important to pick a realtor that aligns with the values that you see in your professional that you want to represent you. So I think that me personally, I work with Remax. We have a great top producing brokerage in the West Kootenays. So over the past 5 years, we've been the top producing brokerage. I think that's really important to note, and to know that you have a team behind you to support you. So me as an individual, I have reliable people to fall back on, right? And to trust throughout the process.
Yeah.
So when you're choosing your realtor, I think it's super important to find someone that aligns with your values and really lean into that.
Yeah, I know I ran into situations too where I might not know the answer. So I reach out to my team and say, hey, have you seen this situation before? Have you come across it? What's the best way that you handle it? And there's always somebody that has seen a scenario before.
Totally.
And they know the best way to handle it because they've been through it. And you're never by yourself, I guess, when you're working with a qualified team like Remax or Centum, who I work with. You always have mentors and reliable people that have been through it and understand it, and you could just pass that information on to your clients so much easier.
Yeah, and I think it's similar to like a coaching mindset. I coach hockey in our area, and I think that you're not weak when you ask for help. So like you said, leaning on your support, there's a different experience every day with real estate as well as mortgages. And I think that it's really important to set your ego aside and really do what's best for the client, because at the end of the day, that's who's the most important person in the transaction.
Yeah, always. That's I never thought of it like that, but that makes so much sense. Because what else are you supposed to do? How else are you supposed to learn than asking the question? Like, nobody knows everything, right?
No.
So if you're coming into a situation and relying on a realtor or a broker or whoever it is in that situation, and they think that they know everything, ultimately, like, is that going to be the best for your needs? Or is it going to be better to have somebody that is genuinely always learning and always trying to find the best solutions and best way to I guess make the process better. So that's huge. I totally agree with that.
Lean into that team mindset, right?
Yeah, I love that.
So the next process that I always start my buyers with is really starting to watch the market. So the next step that I start my buyers on, number 3, is to start watching the market. So once they're pre-approved, they choose their realtor. Say it's me, for instance, I set them up and get them actively watching the market. So watching solds, watching what comes on the market, and kind of narrow down what their desired standards are for their next purchase, right? I think it's super important to really narrow down your checklist and what you're willing to accept if you don't get that, right? And I think that comes with experience. So once we start seeing a few houses and they start seeing what the houses are sold for, I think that's super important knowledge, and it will make them confident once we get to the purchase agreement that they're like, hey, I've been watching this as well. I feel confident going in at this, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess when they see what things are selling for, and having done that pre-approval process, they kind of know the range that they're in the market for. That really does just set expectations and just keeps them excited, I guess, in the market, and just keeps them in it. What are some? Have you ever had any wild situations where people come in with just like crazy high expectations? Like, I was watching the Instagram the other day, flipping through it. I think I seen a meme, and it was that Nickelback song. They're talking about having a bathtub or whatever that they could fit like 10 people in, and all these crazy things. And it's like, is that realistic, or like, what do you actually need? Like, what are some of the things that you've come across?
Yeah, I think that just kind of having that mindset before pre-approval is really hard to go into a $500,000 house compared to $1 million house. Yeah. So I think that, setting those expectations and making sure that you're set up for success, because that's going to really help the process along, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I guess one thing we didn't touch on yet was when you're picking a realtor, picking the right team, is actually matching personalities and like making sure that works together. Because I'm sure you've seen it where you have somebody you think, okay, well, maybe I won't be the best fit, so you push them over to somebody else that has a different personality.
Totally.
Or does things a bit different that you think might just work for that client. And I think that's huge for sure. And
I think that comes back to the piece about your ego, right? Like, at the end of the day, clients are number one. Right? And we have to set that at the door, because that's who's most important in all transactions. And that's something that, not everyone's able to do. And I think that when you do that, it's so appreciated by the client.
Yeah, I think that's got to be one of the keys to your longevity in the industry. Like, coming on 10 years or 11 years or whatever it is. I see people come in and out of the business, because I've been involved for about the same amount of time as well. And I think that is something that I would say is super common in those kind of personalities is people who maybe think they know too much right away, or they are looking to get paid or something out of it, where that's not the point of the business. The point of the business is service, and ultimately you're serving the client. And clearly people have seen that in yourself, and then that's I'm sure one of the keys to your success. So
yeah, I think that value aligns for both of us, which is why we've been together for so long.
For sure. Okay, so where are we at in the buying process?
So after we start actively watching the market, I always get my clients to kind of send me some of the places that they're seeing on the market that they like, and then I always add additional ones that I feel like might fit their needs. And I think that's where you start to grow and trust your realtor and really trust the process. And I always kind of go through the buying process prior to even putting in an offer. So we'll go see a house, we'll go over what the next steps are, just so when it comes to the purchase agreement, it's not a surprise, right? So I think that's, like we said, making it easy and kind of just guiding you along the path, right? That's really important.
Yeah, it's like, it doesn't have to be complicated, and when you lay it out like that, it actually really isn't complicated.
No.
It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps or whatever it may be, but it's, when you see it there, it's achievable.
Yes.
But when you're just out here hoping or wondering or maybe getting overly anxious about things, which I know I see from a mortgage standpoint all the time, it seems like such a scary thing and such a big thing, which it is a huge thing because it's an important purchase in your life, probably one of the biggest purchases you'll ever make. But when you actually break it out and you can see it, it's not complicated. It's simple, and you set your expectations and you know what you're walking into, and it's enjoyable, and I guess at the end of the day, it's just ensures that you're making the right decision.
Right.
Whatever
and
that is.
I think that communication piece is really important because the more knowledge is key, right?
Yeah.
So I think breaking this down and for people to visually be able to hear what it is and what the process is, that eliminates the questions, that eliminates the mistakes and the worries that come with it, right? When you know what you're getting into, you're way more confident, right?
Yeah.
So I think after you say we find a place, the next step is putting in the formal offer. So based off of my experience, I do pride myself in being a great negotiator. So I think that that's something that if that's important to you, you go and do your due diligence and find someone who's going to best represent you. And I think that currently our market is a balanced market. So right now, as the market fluctuates, we're currently in a balanced market. So we are seeing the ability for buyers to get into the market easier than previous years. And I think that the negotiation process is super important. And I love that part. It reminds me of hockey. It brings me back to the competition years. And that's something that's really exciting for my piece of the puzzle. And I think that in this market, we have that opportunity to really change an offer, right? So make sure that you're picking someone that does that, right? I think that's super important.
Yeah, I guess, you want them to fight for you, and get you the best deal and the best situation.
Exactly.
For sure. It has been interesting because we kind of went through that period of time where like 2020, 21, 22, maybe it's leveled out now, where I guess people were just listing their place for crazy numbers because there was just such a strange thing going on in the market where there wasn't as much negotiation, I guess, because it felt like people were like, it was such a such a seller's market that people were just getting whatever they wanted for their place. And I don't know exactly what that was. I guess interest rates were quite a bit lower then, which gave people more buying power, but ultimately people almost got used to that and thought that was the norm. But I know that personally I've really seen it's leveled out and come back to this more balanced market like you're talking about, where you can negotiate now and I think that's almost more normal.
Yes.
Whereas that peak market that we've seen back in 2020 was almost an anomaly, and people thought that was the norm, but it wasn't. And I think we're really coming back to leveling out where it used to be.
And we're seeing buyers come in with confidence, which has been historically a really hard position. Like you said, the stressful times where you're going in with no conditions, over asking 40,000, 50,000, whatever it was, that's a very high stress situation. Now we're kind of in a normal market where we are able to do our job and negotiate and come in with conditions and have a smoother buying process for them.
Yeah, I guess so. It's almost more important than ever to have the right realtor and the right negotiator for you, because you can actually negotiate. Where they went through that period where it was like anybody can throw out a crazy offer, and it was just so not what the actual industry is.
Yes.
I feel like that we almost have to just like remove that type of time from history, because it was so weird.
But yeah, I think that process, once you get into the offer process, you should be prepped for what's coming, right? So that's important to follow the pathway to make sure that, we're ready. We've watched the market, we've seen these listings, and we're ready to make an offer that we're comfortable with, because like you said, it is one of the biggest investments that you'll make in your life, right? So I think that really makes it easier for buyers. And I think the communication from the brokers and the banks, that's really important too, because that open communication builds that confidence and is like, I'm prepped, I'm ready, and I want this house.
Yeah,
right?
Of course. And now keeping that open communication throughout the whole process is key, because here's an example of something that I don't think people realize that they could even do. But when you're working with a broker who's actually solid, even when you have your accepted offer, your rate can still change. So that whole time up until you sign the actual papers, you can get a better rate at a different lender, and they could still be the ones that complete the mortgage for you. So just because they lock you in at, I'm just throwing a number out there, 4%, and that's the number that you got your accepted offer, you remove your conditions, you're happy with it, that doesn't mean that your broker stops. So they might find a better situation and a better rate and something that works overall better for your purchase, and they can implement that after the fact, after you've removed conditions still. So it's like we don't stop when that happens. It's like we're still actually talking to you, seeing what's going on in your life. We're looking at the rates, we're still shopping right up until you sign the papers, because at the end of the day, you want to get them the best situation. And if nothing changes, then that's fine. But if it does and you can improve the situation, then that's what you do right up until the transaction's over, and even after.
Yeah, I think that is the biggest importance, is quality is better than quantity. And you putting in that dedication and drive behind the scenes might be unseen, but it is always appreciated and respected at the end of the day, right? Yeah. And that aligns for both of our businesses. I think that's super important.
So now they have a contract, they've submitted an offer, got an accepted offer. What's next? So
we, depending on the offer, of course, we have standard conditions and then potentially other conditions that are necessary. So that's a guided process based off of each deal. Between the 2 weeks of conditions, it can be a stressful process, but like I've said, you're prepped and primed and you know what to expect. So when you're guided through that process, it feels a lot more comfortable. One thing that is really great with making it easy for the buyers is having open communications with the realtors and the brokers or the banks, just to facilitate the client as best as we can. I think that goes back to the values and communication that is really needed throughout the process.
Yeah, for sure. Because I guess when they know what's going on, there's no surprises.
Yeah.
And if you get into a situation where you're like your anxiety's through the roof because you don't know if you're going to get approved, you're sending in paperwork last minute, you might not be able to find something, maybe you need a notice of assessment and you don't even have access to Service Canada, and that could take 10 days because they have to send you a thing. It's like there's things that if you get them taken care of before, then when you're in that typical 2-week condition removal phase, you're not stressing. It's just, you're just going about your daily life. You don't even have to worry about it because you already took care of these things before, and it's easy.
Yeah.
And it should be easy. It should feel easy. Obviously, it's a bit of it's a big thing happening in somebody's life, so there's going to be big emotions. But if it feels like a struggle, then
there's a chain.
Then something's going on. Like, it shouldn't feel like that. You should understand what's happening in your buying process, and making sure that it's going smooth, because it should really be smooth.
Yeah. And simple, right?
It should be smooth and simple. It is simple when you know the facts.
Yeah. So throughout the condition process, I have quite a few trusted professionals in their niches that I always recommend. So brokers, banks that have been successful, inspectors, appraisers, and contractors that I lean on, that I've grown experience with and know that I can rely on them, and they'll have the same values: honesty, trust, and hard work, right? So I think that kind of coincides with all of our businesses, that we need to align our values for the best of the client, right? So that's, over time, has built, and it has made the process so much more smooth.
Yeah, I guess because you can rely on those people, and you know that they're not gonna or you know that they're going to be there for you.
Yeah.
So, I've had situations where people panic. Oh, I don't know if is the appraiser going to be able to get in, but there's the same, few people that I work with over years of time now, and I know that they're going to be there for me when I need them. So I can call them up and say, hey, this is coming down to the wire. We only got a few days left, and I've never had a situation where we're not able to find somebody, because we have those connections and those contacts.
Yeah, and that's super important, building, your career and having those people to rely on. I think the next step would be, once subjects are removed, then again with the reliable professionals, we would set up conveyancing. So where the title is transferred, depending on money's transferred, whatever the logistics of the contract look like, they handle everything. They have both parties come sign, and it's a really smooth process off of that.
Yeah, for sure. And same thing from the mortgage side. There's even some lenders that have approved people or not approved people, and we just want to set you up with the right people right away, so then it's easy. So we have a list of the approved people that you work with. We send it over, you make a choice, and it's easy, and there's no hiccups.
Yeah,
that's important.
That is important, especially when you're at the end and you're packing all your boxes and you're getting ready to move.
Yeah, and then you call XYZ lawyer, and they can't get you in for a month because they're slammed, right? So yeah, it's very important to have those contacts, and I think that might be something that people overlook. It's like they see a realtor doing their job, and they think it's just maybe showing houses or whatever they think this vision is in their own mind. But on the back end, there's so much more to it, and there's so many connections that an established person like yourself has made over the years to make it easier and probably even cheaper at the end of the day, because the prices that people are charging and these kind of things. So it's very important to choose the right person.
Yeah, and I think that with your connections, I think it's unmatched quality service too, right? It's those people that will deliver the same quality as you want to deliver to them, right? And that's what gets you repeat clients and a long career, right?
Yeah, for sure. So do you have any big things coming up next year, or what's going on with Katie?
We do have some exciting announcements coming in 2026, but I'm going to leave it to mystery.
Okay.
But maybe the next podcast.
Yeah, maybe.
And yeah, I'm really excited.
And then if people want to get a hold of you and ask you questions or see what's up, what's the best way?
I think text is great, but I also have Facebook and Instagram, my professional pages. And yeah, I really look forward to hearing from you.
Cool. Well, that wraps up the first podcast, and I am super stoked to start making this process easier for you guys. I hope that you learned some stuff. If you have any questions, reach out to me. All my information's on my page or down in the information bar. Leave your comments, ask questions that I can have answered in the next podcast. And at the end of the day, let's work towards making mortgages in the real estate market simple, because it needs to be.